You're all familiar with the I am, I hope. It's the fact that you exist. It's the I am with no form. It's the I am unconditioned. It's the I am unfiltered. And this is also called the great causal body because it's kind of like the soil for the seeds to then sprout, to then become trees. That makes sense. So it is God, but obviously God is the soil. It's the great cause for everything. So it's the great causal body. Then more specifically, we have the causal body. And subtle, mind, thoughts, symbols, imagination, and then the physical, the world that you're familiar with. When we're talking about the physical, we're talking about the 5 external senses and what they perceive. The people, places, things, events, facts, and so forth. Then the subtle, you could say, instead of the 5 external senses, is the astral senses or the inner senses. It feels like thoughts, feelings, and imagination. So this is the causal. Causal already reveals something, which is it's the cause of what you perceive. It's the cause of the visible. It's the cause of these. At this level, we're dealing with intentions. So, intentions, beliefs, assumptions, things you assume right now that you don't know you're assuming. Perspective, you could also say point of view. Oh yeah, and a state of being or vibration. Like what's your core vibration? The power by which you know any of these levels is awareness. It's just become identified with these levels. So it's kind of like that's where you feel like you are. But you're always here. And you're always, everything is enabled by this. So even the causal body can be perceived because the great causal body, the light of awareness, enables perception and understanding of the causal level, even though it doesn't have words and thoughts and symbols and visuals. But let's say that I go to the causal level and I try to feel into something that I haven't seen yet. Like, what am I not seeing about what I am assuming right now? Sometimes maybe something here happens that seems challenging or weird or like not negative, not positive initially. I can give it a positive interpretation, but it seems maybe negative or there is a negative interpretation. Then I would try to trace that back to, okay, what must I believe about myself for this to be reflected in that way or for me to interpret it in that way? Because oftentimes what we think is a negative event is actually just part of the bridge of incidents that gets us to what we've been requesting all this time. If I've been requesting a better job, my boss might fire me. If I then go judge that negatively, I'm missing the fact that actually it's on its way to a better job, better life. Everything I've been asking for is coming my way. But at the first sign of distress or like lack, we start judging it from a lack place, and then we kind of stop the sprouting process. We stop nurturing the sprouting of that new intention. So oftentimes, well, I would say always, everything that happens is a reflection. But when you're working with this consciously, you're setting new intentions, then everything that happens in your life should be seen as part of the bridge of incidents that gets you to where you want to go. Doesn't mean that some of these don't reflect a personality trait or a conviction that is worth looking at. In fact, they do. But it's all a reflection of this. So then, if I were to go look for that, okay, what must I believe about myself? What am I assuming? Where am I coming from unconsciously that is producing this? If I allow my consciousness to go to that level, kind of sort of exit the thinking mind, the symbols, and just stay quietly attuned to my desire to find, to sense what I believe, then one of the ways that it typically occurs to me is kind of like an invisible, empty, almost like subatomic or molecular sort of cloud structure. It doesn't look that way. It doesn't really have a visual, but it kind of feels like a nebula, like a mist, like a structure made out of emptiness, existing in emptiness, like empty vibration inside of space. But the more that you believe, okay, I'm a person, I'm a body, I'm small, whoop, you're going to feel the light of God in its distorted version over here. Inherently, it's not going to feel good. It's going to want to go back, snap back in alignment to the truth. So when you have an emotion, especially negative emotion, It means you're having a perspective that is out of alignment with your true being's perspective on whatever topic you're thinking about, whether it's your house or your lawn or your body or your relationships and so forth. So I encourage you guys to try with your healing work, or when you're shifting, wanting to occupy a different state of being, state of core vibration, see if you can begin to work at that level directly. And it's kind of like, well, it's like this. But it's kind of like instinctively at this level, moving out of a certain assumption, out of a certain state of being, and just kind of vibrating intuitively at the level of intention to a new state of frequency that will come with a different assumption of who you are. Now you have a new point of view, which means you'll have a completely different fractal portion experience of the one infinite creator with the one infinite, with its infinite expressions and experiences. There's a reason you're experiencing exactly what you're experiencing right now. It's because it all falls within the core vibration of your current point of view. You cannot perceive what you're not the vibration of. That's why fighting against this or even against this is quite fruitless if you don't change it at this level. That's why hypothetically, you could not do much at all, although whatever perspective you have here will compel you to act in some ways. There's no way around it. But hypothetically, you could pause the subtle and physical activities, and you could change the world by changing this. If you change your point of view significantly enough, you'll literally be in a different frequency, and we call that parallel reality shifting or jumping. So then when you open your eyes again, after like years and years, just kidding, after some time of total rearrangement of this, if it is truly different, if you truly believe all the way through differently, then when you open your mind and your physical eyes again, you will see a different world because you have a different point of view, which gives you access to a different slice of infinite possibilities. But if you don't change this and you try so hard to fight this and that, it's an endless battle that just further confirms, typically, further gives proof to your thoughts and emotions and how you feel about yourself.